Hello friends, good morning. This is Dr. Beena Vinod Rathi, a retired professor of English, and I welcome you to my channel in which I have been teaching different poets to students of English literature. Now the poem that I have chosen for you today is Fame and Friendship, written by Henry Austin Dobson. It's a beautiful poem. In this poem, the poet has made a comparison between fame and friendship. He says friendship is much nobler than getting fame in life. I'll read out the poem to you first so that you get the nuances of the poem, and then I shall explain it to you in detail. Now, the poem for you. Fame and Friendship by Henry Austin Dobson. Fame is a food that dead men eat. Fame is a food that dead men eat. I have no stomach for such meat. In little light and narrow room, they eat in the silent tomb. With no kind voice of comrade near, to bid the banquet be of cheer. But friendship is a nobler thing. Of friendship it is good to sing. For truly, when a man shall end, he lives in the memory of his friend, who doth his better half recall, and of his faults made a funeral. This is a beautiful poem, I told you, written by Henry Dobson, who was born in England, in UK, on January 18th, 1840 in Plymouth. Now this was the poem, and friends, now I shall be telling you about the poem. Now in this poem, the poet sings the beauty of friendship. You know, he says, fame is something that every person sorts for. Everyone wants to become very famous. But in this poem, the poet says that friendship is much nobler than fame, than becoming famous. In the first stanza of the poem, he says, he talks about the fame which happens to be the food. He says it's the food for dead men. They eat it. They want it. He says the meaning of this is that people value a person only after his death. You know, we see many times that people are awarded, people are rewarded, people are remembered only after their death. They are not dealt with peacefully and happily until they are alive. So he says, the poet says that he does not crave for this food of fame after his death. Once dead, a person lies, he says, in his dark tomb with no light, with no space. He says people tend to forget that the death, they tend to forget the dead very soon. In fact, sometimes they are not even remembered in anyone's prayers. Immediately after that, in the second stanza, he talks about friendship. He says, he describes how friendship is better than fame. It is nobler, he says, in comparison. Because he says at the time of death, a person may die bodily. A person might die physically, but he remains alive in the memory of his friend. In fact, he says he may be called as the better half of that person. A good friend makes a funeral of all the faults of his friend, but remembers the goodness that his friend cultivated between the friendship of both of them. He says, goodness by a good friend is remembered, and the rest of the bad things are always forgotten. Obviously, he says, friendship is much better than fame in life. So that was Henry Austin Dobson talking to you about fame and friendship. I hope you have enjoyed the poem and you will be benefited by it. Thank you, friends. Thank you very much.